Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what's going on with Bitcoin for the day so far. So, with our Monday close here, actually, sorry, this is a Tuesday close. What am I doing? Tuesday close. You can basically see that this was a very bullish candle, kind of a swing low here. So I do like the look of this for a bullish move to the upside. Now, that being said, guys, with this next candle, it is a little bit sketchy. We're getting that pump first, so we're gonna have to come back down and get somewhat of a dump, right? But definitely a bullish close yesterday for Bitcoin. So we opened at 63,729. Our low was all the way down about $1,000, 62,700, but we closed at 63,900. So we were up 170 bucks for the day. Can you believe that? Just 170 bucks, but we did a major expansive move to the downside. Similar to this candle, and look at what happened after this candle. We got an expansive move up. So will that happen with this candle? It's going to be a good question. So here's the thing. The only problem I have with this right now is obviously we pumped first, but another thing is that we have the FOMC meeting tomorrow. So there is a chance that we are going to dump, right? We're going to dump down here somewhere. I'm going to be targeting for right now 63,000 if this is our low of the week. Looking for some sort of retracement down to about 63K almost. Probably going to front run it somewhere in this golden pocket right here between the 706 and 0.75 probably. Um, but more than likely, we're gonna have to test somewhere down here tomorrow morning, and maybe if we are gonna be bullish, we gotta flip it, right? So, expecting kind of another candle like this, unfortunately. Just because we have that FOMC meeting, it doesn't have to be expansive, but I do have a feeling that we're gonna get that expansive move. So taking a look at the 8 hour, you're getting the move up. Again, we don't want to pump first, right? We want to dump first. So definitely going to be sketchy for this candle. We don't have any tail on this daily. Keep it that in mind. Okay. So, our open and, we basically, our open and our low is basically the same. We have, I guess, a $5 low for right now. So you can't even see the wick, but there it is, that tiny, tiny little thing. But definitely alludes to the fact that we're probably going to have a wick to the downside. I don't know how far down that's going to go, but I'm going to be looking out for it. Now, when it comes to the 8 hour, again, you're probably going to hit, this is, I'm assuming, going to be bearish, unless it really expands to the upside. 4 hour, 6 hours, the main thing is, guys, is you just do not want to lose these 4 hour or 6 hour 200 MAs. We can, dip below them like this one did here. Just as long as we don't lose them, we'll be good to go. That's the biggest thing to watch out for. I just don't want to see a candle close below these yellow lines right here. So the 4 hour and the 6 hour are some basic time frames to watch on the meso period within the next day. Tomorrow is going to be extremely important for our bias for the week. I will tell you that. So tomorrow is basically, in my opinion, going to decide whether or not we are going to be bullish or we're going to be bearish for the week, depending on how we close on the daily. Um, if we, there's a possibility this is our high, right? And we come down here, we take out this low, and we're going to make a bearish candle for the week. We even come down here into the 65, 62.5-ish area. That's another area I've been targeting, kind of the midway point in this order block. But there's a decent chance that we could do that as well, right? Especially since we're making our high right now. So be very cautious when trading tomorrow. One thing that I, said in the Sin City group is, what I'm going to be looking for tomorrow morning, if I were to trade FOMC meeting, is I'm going to look for a double top or a double bottom to basically get taken and then to reverse, right? So I'm going to counter trade whatever direction it takes, and right now you can see this double top was taken, right? So not a great sign. Does that mean that we're going to come down here, take out this double bottom, or even take out this bottom right here? It's going to be very interesting to see. Um, as of right now, I'm not really that bullish, especially because we have a double bottom right here. So another possible move is we might get that move down, right? Taking out this double bottom, maybe hitting 63,322, maybe coming all the way down here where we have this 63,032,786. Let me see where this one would be at. This one would be about 63,205. That's also a possibility. Maybe coming down here and then getting that move up, so Definitely alluding to the fact I could see 63.5 be taken. So just keep that in mind for right now if anybody's trying to long. Um, and another thing I will tell you guys is, the night before FOMC is definitely going to be a rough time. It's not going to be an easy time to trade, so just be very careful with when it comes to, the night or the day before FOMC for that matter, but the night before especially. You can expect a lot of choppiness for Asia session and London session, so something to keep in mind. 15 minute, you're starting to get somewhat of a consolidation, possibly going to get a golden cross here. Definitely kind of gives a sign that we could possibly get that move up to 64,530 that I've been targeting. Doesn't have to. We already got up to about 64,190, so it's almost 64,2. But there is a possibility that we could get further up here, so just keep that in mind. And I think we did measure that target around 64,530 would be my first target. And then obviously, if we can get past there, you could possibly test 65,186, taking out this double top right here. So this support line or resistance line now is still well in play, as well as, keep in mind, guys, I'm still targeting our Monday midnight open at 65,252, as well as our weekly open at 65,373. This could be the move up. I am going to expect some sort of last retracement to take out this double bottom, but we will see if that happens or not. All right, taking a look at our 10-minute, we did get that golden cross. Definitely a bullish sign. We're about to get the official golden cross with the 50 MA crossing over the 200. So definitely alludes to the fact that we could see a potential bullish move for the night. Not the greatest scenario though, because come FOMC, that could easily reverse to the other direction. I would have liked to see it go more to the downside, if I'm going to be honest, for tonight. This could be possibly on the smaller time frames building out a head and shoulders still, right, to take you down. Not 100% sure, never am, but just keep that in mind. That would possibly, if I were to take this here, this neckline could take you down to about, near that 63.4 area, at least taking out that double bottom. So definitely a possibility there. All right, guys, as far as levels go that I would be watching, definitely 64.5-ish is the first area to the upside. We can get there, then, you can start targeting these three zones, 65.186, 65.252, and 65.373. All important to our week, right? Because, one is the official weekly candle open, one is the Monday midnight open for the week, and then one is just a regular support and resistance line. So all three of those you could potentially target as a take profit zone if we were to get bullish. And then to the downside, guys, I'm going to be targeting 63,322. I've had this one on there. I know this was a random 786 level. We already kind of broke it, but this is a possibility we still bounce from here because of this double bottom. I'd also target 63,205. And as a last resort, before we get into this order block right here, targeting 63,000, almost even. If we lose 63,018, this last 786 level, you could basically expect for us to test 62.6, if not get down to 62.4. So this is kind of our last resort right here, this green line prior to getting into the 62,000 range again and further into it, okay? All right, guys, that being said, let's go ahead and see how liquidity lines up with these levels for now. So taking a look at liquidity, let's take a look at our 4-hour first. So 4-hour, we had that head and shoulders kind of played out already. Will it play out some more? It's kind of hard to tell, right? So definitely have a bridge to the downside to have this play out for the week. Really with how crazy Bitcoin has been, I would not be surprised if, first thing tomorrow or right in the morning for FOMC, we get that pump up, maybe testing weekly Monday midnight open, and then we just fall from there. That's a possibility as well. I always say that, there's a good chance we always test out the weekly open and the Monday midnight open. So we could possibly test those levels in the low 65-ish area and then have a straight down fall from there. That could be a great entry to short. So it would be a high risk entry, but keep in mind that is a very real possibility that we could do something like that for the night and through the morning. Let's take a look at our 1 hour. So our 1 hour is showing that we did take out majority of the 100x liquidity to the upside. You had a little bit more of the 50, but it just doesn't look like we're going to get follow through. The only way we're going to get follow through tonight is if you get that golden cross on the 15 minutes. So if we can consolidate here, get that golden cross on the 15-minute to the 200 MA, we could possibly get up to maybe getting rejected on the hourly 200 around 64.932. That's what I would be expecting for the night. Yes, there is a potential we could get back into the 65-ish range, taking out this double top right here, testing weekly open, and then falling from there. But I'm just not seeing the bridges of liquidity needed to get back above here, into the 60, even above 65,737, taking out this triple top to the upside. So unless we have a very violent move and we don't, need a lot of liquidity, I just don't see it happening. This is definitely a move that, we could possibly, and I'm thinking we'll probably get up to the weekly open, but I don't know if we're going to get past that point. I think we might get stopped there. So, that being said, that's kind of what I'm targeting to the upside for right now. 15-minute. Yeah, kind of showing the same thing, guys. I mean, obviously we have the 50 and the 100 checked off. The 100 is about to run out of its liquidity. It's consolidated liquidity, and then the 15, or sorry, the 50 looks like, we have some legs to go, but just nothing major. Maybe to get us into the high 64-ish range, but not too much farther after that. You can still target this little tiny bit of liquidity we didn't take around 63,460, it looks like. The danger is that we could possibly get that moved down into 62,400, test this area, because this is kind of that starting bridge, right? And especially if we're doing some longs, if they're trying to trigger bullish behavior, this is going to be a very, very, bang and move basically to the downside for the rest of the week if we get that pump tomorrow for FOMC. So basically, what you're going to see is you're going to see Bitcoin, further tonight. It's going to just kind of consolidate, maybe kind of start coming up. FOMC, when it first starts, it'll start taking off a little bit more, coming up here, 65.2-ish, maybe 65.3, and then it's just going to fall from there the remainder of the week, and you're just going to see it come all the way down here, something like that. So it could be definitely a tricky and ugly week for the end of the month. So just keep that in mind, guys. Um, let's take a look and see what our order book is doing through Kiyotaka or open market, whatever you want to call it. They're both synonymous. You have a single order up to 64.5. That was my original target for a short, earlier today, this morning. But it looks like you just don't have the bridge to get up there. You made your high at 64,175. It's not showing a lot of strength for right now. This could be a very good thing though, guys, because if we can get the downward consolidation or the dump for tonight, there's a possibility that the FOMC meeting could basically move price all the way up here to 67,000 for the remainder of the week. So that's why I've been telling you guys tomorrow is crucial because, it's either going to, one, pump us up in the opposite direction if we fall, or two, if we're going to pump tonight, it's going to make it drop into this area of liquidity down to 62,000 and even further. So that's kind of be basically what I'm going to be eyeing is I'm going to be watching it very closely to see where price has its draw on liquidity and then reverse on it. We kind of have a diamond pattern here, it looks like. It's not great, but it's somewhat of a diamond resemblance, especially if we're going to come back down here. I don't put a lot of weight into patterns, but I kind of see that as a somewhat slanted diamond. That kind of broke out, but we're retesting it right now, it looks like. Um, this could also be a head and shoulders that I also set up as well, but really, it just is really going to depend on what tonight does. I again tonight want to see it be more bearish than bullish, because that'll create the tail for the day, and then it will also give us a setup to possibly get that price reversal for tomorrow. That being said, guys, let's take a look at the simple map, see if there's any more clarity that we can see in the market. Taking a look at the simple map, so you're literally right next to the major liquidity. I mean, you took this out at 64.2. You're right smack up against, 64, or sorry, you took out what, 63,870. You're right smack against 64.2 in the smaller time frame. So if you can get up to 64.2, you'd have a chance to maybe test about 64,380, and then you could really fall through this and go to 64,710 and fall through it even more. So some levels to watch the upside would be 64,200, 64,380, and then 64,710. To the downside, as far as what I am seeing here, You got more 100x directly to the downside, but it looks like you're going to have some issues around 63,420. That's that one impulse that we saw on the trading different order liquidity heat map. So if you can get past 63,420 to the downside, you'd be looking at about 63,300, and then continue your way down to about 62,940 would be an area of potential support. So in the shorter time frames, that's kind of what I'm seeing. Getting it past 63,420, getting to 63,300, and then possibly even visiting 62,940 to the downside. Um, and then potentially even from there, you could look at 62,610. You have to basically you look at every single other candle impulse. That you can't just basically drop through. So next one would be 62,610 here. So those are some numbers on the smaller time frames to possibly keep in mind. And then to on the bigger time frames, it really has been coinciding well with the smaller time frames. So I believe the numbers should be the exact same for right now. Let's see, where am I at right here? So let's take a look here. So yeah, getting past 64,200, maybe getting 64,380, and then getting to about 64,710. Same thing to the upside here. To the downside, getting past 63,420, then getting past 63,330, finally to 62,940, and then you start getting into that major liquidity down there. So that being said, guys, that is what I am seeing for the day for right now. Again, from a timing perspective, I do want to see price at least consolidate here or be a little bit more bearish for the night so that we could possibly get that reversal tomorrow. And as usual, if you guys want to use Trading Different and its tools to help you identify a trend and see liquidity, feel free to use my code Sean. You'll get 10% off of your entire subscription. So tradingdifferent.com/code/Sean to be able to use their amazing tool sets and get 10% off. That being said, guys, that's what I have for you for this evening. I hope you all have a wonderful night, and I will talk to you in the morning. Take care.